Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be showing you how to make this cute little Kirby shoulder bag. It takes only 2 to 3 hours to finish, and here's a short list of the materials that you'll be needing. Good luck! Pause at any point here to take screenshots of the directions. The steps will still be listed in the upper left hand corner of the video, but it's also nice to refer back to these. Your first row consists of a magic ring with 10 double crochets on the inside of it. Simply wrap the yarn around 2 fingers and pull the top strand through the bottom, twisting your hook and pulling through once. To do a double crochet magic ring, it's best to chain 1 before starting your double crochets. So chain your 1 and then insert 10 inside of this. You'll yarn over once, pull through 2, and then pull through 2 once more. Continue this 10 times. To finish off your magic ring, pull the yarn taut and then insert your hook into the top of the first double crochet. Then slip stitch through the top. Your second row consists of double crochet increases into each stitch. Simply, you insert the same way you do a normal double crochet, but putting 2 instead of just 1. This ends up making your circle a little bit bigger each time. Rather than just doing 1 double crochet in each, which ends up being the same size and making your project taller, adding 2 makes it longer. When you're done, you should have 20 double crochets around. Take this time to count them up and make sure that you've done it correctly, just counting the top stitch on each part. Row 3 starts the first part of this pattern, where you will be doing 1 double crochet followed by 1 double crochet increase and repeating all the way around. This keeps your project from becoming too loopy on itself, or too ruffled, that's a better word. This will keep your project flat. You're going to do this for your first one, and each time we do a new row, you'll be adding another double crochet. You'll slip to finish this up, and then chain 2 as per usual. As I just mentioned, we're going to continue that pattern, double crocheting not just once, but twice in 2 different stitches, then doing your increase. Like I said, this keeps your project from ruffling up on itself while still expanding the circle. When you're done, you'll slip stitch as per usual and chain 2, the same thing we'll be doing in every row, and we'll continue with this part of the pattern. Row 5 is the same thing. You'll be double crocheting 3 times each in a different stitch, then doing your increase in the next one and repeating this all the way around. Slip stitch just the same as you've been doing, and then chain 2. Row 6 is second to last in this pattern. Double crochet 4 times, 1 in each stitch, and then do your increase. Repeat this all the way around, and we'll slip stitch at the end, chaining 2, and then continuing. At this point, you probably notice we're adding 10 stitches each time around. This is the last row for the body. You'll be double crocheting 5, 1 in each stitch, and then doing your double crochet increase. At the end of this, you will have 70 stitches. If you would like to pause and count, chain 1 and then cut your yarn. Pull this through and you can weave in any of the ends later. Repeat this. Pay close attention as we begin to create the eyes, cheeks, and mouth for Kirby's face. You begin row 1 with a magic ring consisting of 6 white double crochets. Make this the same way you've been making other magic rings, and we'll be switching colors afterwards. So after you've done 6 double crochets, do not slip stitch. Once you've finished your last one, get ready to cut your yarn and switch over to black. This will make sure that you don't have a weird segment when you're changing colors. Go to slip stitch, and rather than pull through with your white yarn, you're going to pull through with this new black yarn. You don't need a slip knot or anything for this, just simply pull it through the same way you normally would, and then pull tight on both of the pieces of white yarn, just to make sure that everything stays in place. After chaining 1, you're going to be doing 12 half double crochet increases. You do this the exact same way you do a double crochet, but instead of pulling through twice, you're just pulling through all of them after you yarn over. It's also good to make sure you wrap in the rest of those ends so you weave some in throughout the rest of the process. So loop them over and then insert 2 half double crochets into each of these stitches, slip stitching at the end and then chaining 1. This will finish the circular part of the eye before elongating it at the end. Make sure you pay attention closely to the directions here. You're going to be doing 1 half double crochet, followed by a double crochet, then a triple crochet, which is the same as a double, just looping over twice, then another double crochet, and another half double crochet. This is to start the rectangular part of Kirby's eye, and elongate the eye in a way that doesn't mess up the circle. The pattern is very simple, but I slowed down the recording for you so that you can follow it a little bit easier as I go through this step. This is the only time you'll need to be doing this exact part of the pattern, so just read the directions if you're stuck. Chain 1 at the end of this and turn your work. Really make sure you do this step correctly in both eyes so that way they're even when you sew them on. Row 4 is very simple. You'll just be doing 5 half double crochets, 1 in each of those stitches you made in the last row. At the end of this, we'll be switching to that navy for Kirby's eyes, so don't chain 1 until you're ready to switch colors afterwards. Again, I'm keeping this part slowed down so you don't get lost in the more intricate steps. When you get to your navy, you're simply going to switch colors the same way you switch with black. However, since it's not a double crochet, it's a lot easier. You're just going to pull it through for your chain 1 and turn your work around. Rows 5 and 6 follow the same exact pattern of doing 2 half double crochets, 1 normal double crochet, and then 2 more half double crochets. You'll chain 1 and then turn your work, do the exact same thing again. This just keeps your eye from folding up on itself, the same as we did before, and it makes it so there's a slight curve to the blue on how it falls, just like the regular Kirby art does. From here, you'll end up cutting the blue and making sure to pull it off, then going back to your black yarn to slip stitch all the way around. This is super easy, just inserting your hook and pulling it through both loops. This kind of frames the eye and makes it look less of a little piece of fabric you're sewing on, and more like a cohesive part of the actual little bag. Once you've slip stitched all the way around your eye, you'll chain 1 and cut your yarn. The eye is complete and you want to repeat this. Obviously, Kirby has 2 eyes, so you need them both done before moving on to the next step. The cheeks are done all in one big long row. Simply, you're going to do a quick slip knot and chain 6. After you've done your chain 6, you're going to be half double crocheting once into both sides of them. So start by skipping 1 and half double crocheting into the last 5. Once you get to the slip knot you made at the start, half double crochet 3 into it. That makes it a little bit wider, and then continue the other way around with the rest of your half doubles. You'll slip knot, chain 1, and cut your work at the end, and repeat this so you have 2 little cheeks. The mouth is probably the easiest part of this whole project. You're literally doing a small magic ring with 6 double crochets on the inside, and that's it. So after you've done your magic ring, chain 1 and do 6 double crochets. You'll slip stitch when it's done, chain the extra 1 and cut it, and then you're entirely done with the body and all of the facial features. Once you finish all 5 of these little pieces, you can weave in your ends for the eyes, cheeks, and mouth, or just do whatever you want with them. I like to leave some of them to help sewing it on later, but if you want to sew it on more traditionally, you can just weave them in and forget about them. For the next part of your piece, you're going to be sewing on every little facial feature that you made after arranging them the way you like them. I like to do this one of 2 ways. Either line them up first, sew on one individually, or just try and leave it all flat. But what I usually do is I line it up, take them all off, and realign them afterwards. You can either use the little pieces left over on each of the eyes or the mouth, whatever it is, pull it through with your hook, or you can sew them on traditionally with a darning needle, whatever is most comfortable for you. When you're done, your face should look a little bit like this, and everything should be on no matter what you do to it. The next part will be to make the strap for your bag. You'll start with a slip knot and begin to chain as much as you personally want, but I end up doing 140 chains. This is because, as we said before, there are 70 stitches around the entire Kirby circle, and we need to leave a small slit at the top of it. So it'll be about 60 chains worth of actually surrounding the piece, and then another 80 for the strap itself. You've seen in the beginning exactly where it falls on my body. You can do this however you want it to fit you. Next, you're going to be half double crocheting 1 into each and every stitch, skipping the last one so that way nothing gets knotted up, and then going through each of the rest of them. At the end, I'll show you how to move on to the next row. Rather than chaining 1 and having that weird extra stitch, we're going to jump right into doing half double crochets. You'll leave a little bit of leeway on your yarn and do a half double crochet the way you normally would, and this will kind of extend it upwards and not have you having that weird, ugly extra chain. You'll be doing normal half double crochets all the way to the end of this chain once more. At the end, Do not forget to do the last stitch. That little 2 pieces there, that is another stitch that you do need to go into. When you're done, you'll start the next row the same way you started this one. Row 4 is your last row for the strap. You'll be starting it the same way you did before, leaving a little bit of leeway on the yarn, and then doing normal half double crochets all the way until the end of this row. Afterwards, you'll do a little extra chain, and I'll show you how to attach the strap itself without having to cut anything. Now we're going to be attaching the strap onto the rest of the bag. It's important to know that whatever's facing the inside will be on the outside afterwards. So we want the faces on the inside, the magic rings on the outside. So you'll find a spot diagonal to the eye, which is where we're going to line up the holes of the bag. The hole will be small enough that nothing's going to fall out of your bag, but big enough that your hand can still fit in and out of it. To line it up, push it back through the strap after you've chained one, then push it through the panel. Since we counted the amount of chains we'll be using for the strap, it should line up very nicely with the bag itself, as well as be long enough to go around your arm or however long you made it. These slip knots are super easy. You're going through the strap once, through the panel once, and then back out through all 3 loops. You'll repeat this all the way around until you get to the other side. It'll look a little something like this, and then we have to worry about weaving in the ends. Chain 1 and cut your piece, and then leave a long enough thread that we can weave it in nicely later. You don't have to do this part until later, but it'll look nice if you have it slightly longer so nothing pokes out. To do the other panel, you're going to go back to where we originally hooked up this one and go across to the adjacent stitch. You can attach this panel wherever since there's nothing like face-wise on it. It doesn't matter where it lines up. Pull a slip knot through the both of them and pull it all the way through. You'll continue to slip knot all the way around until you get to the end of this face and the strap is just hanging off with the rest of the piece connected. Before you cut anything, we want to line up the strap itself, so chain into that last little piece, don't forget anything, and pull through. We're then going to lay out the strap to make sure that nothing loops over itself and that it very nicely lays up and down. So I'll zoom you out and kind of show you how to lay it down. Once it looks like this, you can make sure that everything isn't folded and attach it where it's going to go. From this point, since the strap is even, we don't have to worry about not having any ends matching up. We'll simply chain 1 on this and then slip knot through the chain the same way we attach the panels together. Again, doing it this way makes sure it's on the inside so you don't have any weird bumps afterwards. You'll slip stitch in, lining it up as best as you can, pulling through 2 and pulling through the original piece. At the end, make sure you don't skip anything so that way it doesn't have a loose finish. You want to get it into every single piece, even the corner, and pull it through. When you're done, you'll chain 1, cut it out, and then we can weave in all of our ends. Weaving the ends in is actually very simple, just pull it through each chain. After you flip your Kirby inside out, he'll look super cute and be prime and ready to attach his arms and legs. The arms and legs follow almost the exact same pattern. The arms will just be slightly smaller than the legs are. The way we turn them inside out will make them a little bit puffy, but not too much that it looks abnormal on a bag. Here's your reference images. To crochet your arms, you're going to start with a magic ring with 6 double crochets. You'll do 1 row of increases afterwards, and then you'll slip stitch the top together, which I'll show you in a little bit more detail. After you do your increases, flip it inside out just like I said before, and stuff it with the end of the yarn from the magic ring. From here, you're going to try and line your project up flat and look to the top of the actual piece. These little pieces are what's going to make this little nice sewing area, if that makes sense. So these top stitches is what you're going to be slipping into. Insert it into one, then the other, and pull through both of them. Then pull through your original. At the end of this, you'll chain 1 and leave a nice long piece of yarn so it's easiest to sew into the bag itself. The legs start out and finish the exact same way as the arms do, except you're going to be double crocheting 8 instead of 6. You'll do a little increase row right afterwards, ending up with 16 double crochets rather than the 12 like you had before. The only difference is a decrease row that we do afterwards to make the feet kind of curve in at the tops. To do a decrease, you're going to insert through 1 stitch, pull through, and then it kind of makes it shorter in length. So I'll show you one more time. Loop over, then insert your hook into one hole and through the other, pull through both, and then double crochet the same way you would normally do. When you're done with all this, you'll go all the way around and flip your piece inside out once more. After that, you'll find the little slips on the top, the same way you did with the arms, and slip stitch through each and every one of those. The last step is to sew each and every piece on. To show you a little bit more detailed, what I like to do is line it up with the cheeks here, and then take my hook to pull that string that we left on the arm. So line this up exactly how you want it, and then find the spot in that little divot where the bag meets the strap to insert the arm. It'll fit perfectly, and it'll make it look a lot cleaner than it would just attaching it onto the side. So once you find the spot to insert your hook, you'll poke it all the way through and grab that yarn that we left over the first time. Once that goes through, we're going to switch over to a darning needle and attach it to the end of that yarn, and you'll insert it through the panel itself and then up through the arm and into the panel. You'll do this for all 4 limbs, attaching it through the piece into the little spot where the panels meet the strap, and then back through your piece. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. You can sew however feels the most comfortable for you. I just like this method because I feel like it's extremely secure. And once each and every one of your pieces is sewed on, you'll have completed your very own Kirby shoulder bag. Please check out all the links, and thank you so much for watching. Also, here's my cat. He really likes to sew and crochet with me, so he wanted to say bye to everybody. He liked the bag, and there he is. Perry says bye-bye.